leave them open, don't seal them when they go soggy. Stick them in the oven for half a minute, they'll go nice and crispy again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody?
All good, Baruch Hashem. Evening, Ben.
Good evening. How are you?
Paid less than £1 for petrol today. Haven't done in Tesco. It's 99.
You didn't get a lot of petrol then.
No, I paid £45, but I paid.
That's the cheapest it's been for many, many years.
Just turn the light on the other side. That's over there. No. Where are we starting from?
Starting Samach Tes Samud Aleph, Ve'ele Mundat.
Samach Tes.
69a, 5 lines from the top. Every time you have any news, what's the news in the world? Besides for that fact that petrol's going down in price.
News. There isn't much news.
In London, they're saying you can have garden mignon again.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, a letter came out from signed by Bonnyman doctors.
And
I don't know if you've been following what's going on in London, but in London,
So probably tomorrow
Mignon
will be a London
Day
letter in Manchester. It's like the Ahmadiyya. It comes out on Wednesday in London, Thursday Manchester.
the problem is that in London, a lot of people like Kings Road, where I live, everyone's got very small gardens, which means my garden's like 2 meters by 4. Like, you see, my father lives in London. He's got a massive
You
garden.
know, they're saying you should stay in your garden.
Oh, but Allah
No,
is
they're
you can't
saying
make
you
a minion
should
unless
not
you actually
belong to
see.
God.
You have to have 10 people that can see each other without seeing each other.
That's the problem.
See each other or see the chazan?
That's the Chaz has to see 10. The Chaz sees 10. That's also good.
So how do they do it then? Because they're saying you have to be in your own garden.
So that's what I say. That people have big gardens and you can see each other and everything.
Yeah.
Ben, how are we going to do that up here?
Or Mike will make a minion. He holds safe Torah.
Yeah, I'm sure you would call the police first minute.
Did you hear what happened on King's Road yesterday? There was a big fire.
Yeah, I saw, and I only saw the beginning bit, and apparently the police were summoned.
Yeah, they did.
Shomim came.
Shomim came, yes, followed by a convoy of policemen.
Wow.
I get very upset by the Chil Hashem. So everything bothers me.
Very, very.
It's the Yidden that make. It's the people that think that they need to make. That are worried the most that they make the most Chil Hashem. Did you
see about Stamford Hill? Stamford Hill had a big one.
No,
They hit the news.
Such a shame.
It is.
But Talal, that's not true what you're saying, because the police would have found out anyway and would have been much worse. Shomrim came in order to maintain relations with the police and to show the police that there is responsible.
Shomim are all useless, if you ask me. A bunch of grown policemen who want to play police and robber.
I don't think you're
Right.
right.
You should all go
I don't think you're
get
right.
themselves an Xbox and play GTA.
I think that at the end of the day, there's still a very good chilek in the community. I don't know what GTA is, but anyway, okay, we get off the point.
Different share.
We'll
have to explain
on
to
it next.
Okay,
I don't play it.
we're up to Daf Samach Tes Samud Aleph, about 5 lines from the top. There's an expression in Yiddish, halt kop. Halt kop literally means to hold your head. Oh, I could see your brother is actually literally holding your head. That's not what it means, though. It means to keep your focus, keep your mind on it. Sometimes you have a Gemara, which is not actually hard, as long as you keep your mind on it. If you miss a point, unfortunately, it gets harder. So this is the kind of Gemara with Kedai to keep cheshbon. In our Mishnah, the Mishnah told us there are 3 kinds of shogeg. 3 kinds of making a mistake regarding Shabbos. What are the 3 cases, very briefly? Somebody that forgets the concept of Shabbos. He has no idea there's such thing as Shabbos. That's case number 1. Case number 2, he knows the Shabbos, but he forgets that today is Shabbos. He wakes up in the morning and thinks it's a Monday. Today it's Shabbos. Case number 3, he knows the concept of Shabbos. He knows it's Shabbos. Somebody needs to mute. But the problem is, He knows his Shabbos, and he knows the concept of Shabbos, he knows the day of Shabbos. He doesn't know if this particular thing is forbidden. The more brought to Machlokes between Munvaz and Chachamim regarding what does it mean Shoygeg by Shabbos? What does Shoygeg mean by Shabbos? And over here, we come up with a very important halacha that Shoygeg doesn't necessarily mean that I don't know at all. Shoygeg can also mean that I know about it, but I don't have a correct, clear picture about it. For example, let's say, we mentioned this yesterday, let's say a person knows that there's such a thing as Shabbos. He thinks, oh, very good, Yossi, very nice. So over here's got a diagram. So a child that never knew, that's the first case. Why it's got 4 cases? It should only have 3 cases, let's just see. The first case is he never knew Shabbos is Chayav 1. Or the first 2 cases are the same, where a person either never knew that Shabbos existed, or alternatively knew, but now has completely forgotten the concept of Shabbos.
The first one is because of a tinek shenishba.
Yeah, but the halachas are the same. That means basically it's the same halacha in the sense that both of the first 2 cases, we're talking about somebody that doesn't know about Shabbos. Either he doesn't know about Shabbos because he forgot about Shabbos, or he never learned about Shabbos. But the halacha is the same. It's Chayav 1. Second case, he forgot about that's a day of Shabbos. It's Chayav every Shabbos. And the third case is the word malacha on the last line is spelled completely wrong. The aleph goes before the chaf. It doesn't matter. Anyway, there is Chayav for every av malacha. Very good. Very nice. Now, we had the Machlokes Chachamim and Munvaz. What does it mean when a person forgets? And over here we come to a very, very important point. Forgetting does not necessarily mean that a person doesn't know that something's forbidden. If a person thinks that being over Shabbos is, let's say, an asay, when really we know that it's a loisa asay, that could also be forgetting, because on some level he has forgotten the severity of Shabbos. Right? If a person doesn't know how bad it is, that's also a form of forgetting. Now, Shabbos has within it 3 things. When a person is mechalel Shabbos, but mezid is chayav kos and malchus, and it's a loose. Well, I should say kos and malchus is because of one thing. It's chayav a punishment. Plus, it's a lav. Plus, if he does it by mistake, it's chayav chatos. Now, what happens if a person only forgets a part of that? Is that considered shogeg? So let's look more inside. We quoted Munvaz yesterday. That Munvaz said that even if a person knows it's a Shabbos, he can still be shogeg. Says the Gemara ben Munvaz, shgoga b'may. If he knows it's Shabbos and he knows it's forbidden, in what way is he shogeg? Answer is one can shogag b'korban. He knows that today is Shabbos. He knows he's not allowed to do boiva. He knows that if a person does boiva, he's chayav malchus and he's chayav koros and skila. One thing he doesn't know. He does not know that if you do it by mistake, one is chayav a korban chatos. That's the only element that he does not know. Munvaz considers that a shogeg. The Chachamim say no.
No real way to prove whether he knew or not.
Yeah, it's up to the person to admit. We don't force a person being a chatos. Again, the person knew it was Shabbos, knew that boiva was forbidden, and knew that there's malchus, there's koros, and he knew that there's koros and that there's misa. He just did not know that there's a korban chatos b'shogeg. In such a situation, he's considered a shogeg because he didn't know all the relevant information. He didn't know properly. That's not called shogeg. Not knowing that you have to do korban chatos, that's not called shogeg. What is considered shogeg? If a person, for example, knows that it's forbidden, let's say, talk about cooking. He knows they're not allowed to cook on Shabbos, and he knows that it's a lav. But he does not know there's koros. That is also called shogeg. Let's remember this very well. What is considered shogeg on Shabbos? According to Rabbi Yechanan, it's enough that all he doesn't know is that the person not chayav koros, which would mean that nearly everybody nowadays would be a shogeg, or certainly all people who are not learned would be a shogeg, because they don't know about the chiyuv koros. So therefore, in such a case, they're considered shogeg. Ma'ashekin, according to his shlokish, you have to not know that it is forbidden. We're up to Samech Tes Amud Aleph, about 12 lines from the top. Omar Rav. Let's summarize again. We're talking about somebody who knows that it's Shabbos, he knows it's forbidden, but he does not know either that there's kos or he does not know that there's a lav. That is the machlokes, what is considered shogeg. That person made a mistake and he did not know that it's forbidden. The word says clearly, a person did an avera which he was not aware that it's forbidden to do. So we see that he holds that when is it considered shogeg, the pasuk clearly states, when is it considered shogeg? Only when a person does not know that it's forbidden. If he knows it's forbidden, then already he's not considered a shogeg. Again, imagine you go to somebody's house and you see him putting a pot of water on the fire. And you say to him, "Oh, it's Shabbos." And he says to you, "Oh, I forgot it's Shabbos today." So that's a proper shogeg. Alternatively, if he says to you, "Oh, I knew it was Shabbos, I never knew it was not allowed to cook on Shabbos," that's a proper shogeg. What happens if you come in and you see him putting a pot of water on the fire? You say to him, "Hey, it's Shabbos." And he says, "Yeah, I knew it's Shabbos, and I knew it's forbidden, and I knew this course, and I knew it's a lav, but I did not know that by mistake one brings a korban chatos. If one does it by mistake, one has to bring a korban chatos. Would you consider him a shogeg or a mezid?"
I think Mumbaz was saying something. There's a machlokes.
That's the machlokes. Mumbaz will consider him a shogeg because at the end of the day, he did not know all the details. But the Chachamim will consider him a mezid because after all, he knew so much. He knew it's Shabbos. He knew you're not allowed to put fire on you're not allowed to cook water on Shabbos. And he knew that it's forbidden on this cause. Now, what happens if you come in and you see him putting a pot on the fire? You say to him, "Hey, it's Shabbos." And he says to you, "I know it's a lav, but I don't know if it's kos." Never heard that it's kos. That is a machlokes of Yehuda and Rish Lakish. According to Rish Lakish, he has to be a korban chatos. Because at the end of the day, he knew it was forbidden and he went and did it. So, I made a mistake. He cannot be a korban chatos because he went and did b'mezid. At the end of the day, he knew it was forbidden. According to Rish Lakish, he is considered a shogeg because he never knew about kos. Says the Gemara, "Rabbi Yochanan high kod Rishon Lakish me'avidli. We have a brayso. The brayso is discussing somebody who's a rosha. Is a rosha. Let's say he eats he eats blood every single day. He's a rosha. And then he says to you, comes to the Beis HaMikdash with a korban chatos, and he says, "I want to bring a korban chatos because I ate blood by mistake." Would you allow him to bring a korban chatos because he ate blood by mistake when he eats blood every day on purpose? So that's the shaila over here. The Vice says like this: Me amoretz. It says mem is always a miut from amoretz. Prat lemuma. That to teach you that a rosha is not allowed to bring a korban chatos. Rabbi Shimon Elazar, Imam Shimon, actually says, "Seder mishkol gavashe, hashav yediyosei maybe korban ashkigosei. Lo yisham yediyosei. If you would not have retracted, any maybe korban ashkigosei." The Gemara in Hoyos explains the machlokes as follows: a man always eats blood, and one day by mistake he ate chelev. So the question is, can you bring a korban chatos on the chelev? The Tanna Kama says no. This person is a rosha. He's happy to be over Yisum b'mezid. He cannot bring a korban. The second man, Rabbi Shimon Elazar, says yes, he can bring a korban chatos, because regarding this particular avera, if you would have told him as he was eating the chelev, by the way, this is chelev, he would not have eaten it. For some reason, he doesn't mind being over dam, but he doesn't want to be over chelev, and therefore he does bring a korban chatos on the chelev. But we see the drush of the pasuk tells us that Shalei says Seno. Now, what does the pasuk teach us? That you're only being a korban chatos for something which a person would retract from with the knowledge. It says about like this. The next Mishnah, we're going to have this a few times. It's good to get it very clear. The next Mishnah, the later Mishnah tells us all the different malachos on Shabbos. How many are there? 39. 40 minus 1. And then the Mishnah counts them all out. Counts them all out. Now, the obvious question is, if I list you something, I do not need to tell you at the beginning of the list how many it's going to be. If you want to know how many, count them yourself. Why does the Mishnah need to begin by saying there are 40 minus 1, meaning there are 39 malachas on Shabbos, and these are them? Why tell me such a long list? Why tell me start off with a number? Just say these are the malachas which are forbidden on Shabbos. And should anybody want to know exactly how many there are, he can make the effort of counting himself. Why does the Mishnah need to tell us at the beginning, at the outset, that there are 39? Now it is possible for a person to bring 39 chatois for one Shabbos. Now, if a person forgets it's Shabbos, let's say you wake up on the Monday morning thinking it's not Shabbos, how many chatois do you bring for all the averos did on that day? Does anybody remember that rule? If you forget that it's Shabbos, how many chatois do you bring?
for kol malacha.
One.
Kol av, sorry.
One. Why one, Ben? Why one? Because you forgot it's Shabbos. You didn't forget they're not allowed to cook, etc. So you only have one. If you remembered it as Shabbos, but you forgot the 39 malachas, that means if somebody would have asked you that Shabbos, are you allowed to plow? You would have said to him, yes, of course you're allowed to. Are you allowed to plant? Yes. Are you allowed to cook? Yes. Are you allowed to shecht? Yes. He forgot all 39 malachas. And he did all 39 in one Shabbos, a very, very busy Shabbos. At the end of the Shabbos, he says, I've forgotten that now the halachas. Somebody teaches him the halachas, and he discovers that he actually, all what he did that Shabbos was forbidden. How many chatois does he have to bring? 39. Because he made 39 mistakes. So we see over here, before we said that if you forget about Shabbos, you bring one. Forget about malachas, bring 39. But the question more is like this, and this is a delicate question which we'll ask a couple of times. It's like shmak if you have it. If a person has forgotten that there are 39 malachas to Shabbos, in what possible manner does he remember that it's Shabbos? If a person remembers it's Shabbos and he knows he's not allowed to cut, he's not allowed to harvest, he's not allowed to plow, but he forgets, for example, you're not allowed to cook. So you can say this person knows it's Shabbos, he forgot one aspect of Shabbos. If a person has forgotten all 39 malachas of Shabbos, so in what way can you call this person somebody that remembers that it's a Shabbos? When you say to him that today is Shabbos, he says, yes, it is a Shabbos. What does Shabbos mean to him? Nothing. Because as far as he's concerned, all 39 malachas are permitted. So in what way does he remember Shabbos? Now, this kasha is only according to Rish Lakish, if you keep cheshbon, if you hold cup, if you're holding your head. That means, if you think about it like this, according to Rabbi Yochanan, this person could very well know that all 39 things are forbidden. Just simply not know that a person's chayav koros for any one of these 39. Since he doesn't know that you chayav koros for these 39, he knows very well a lot about Shabbos, and therefore he's considered a shoygig on all 39, and if he's over all 39, he's chayav 39 chatois. But if we're talking like Rish Lakish, that once a person knows that it's forbidden, that's not called shoygig, so the only way to be chayav 39 chatois is if he has forgotten completely all 39 malachas. So if that is the case, in what way is he remembering that it's a Shabbos? Is this question clear? Because if it's not clear, it's a shame to move on, because at the end of the day, Mog brings this question back later again. I'll say it again like this. If a person wakes up in the morning and forgets it's a Shabbos, he only has to bring one chatas. If he knows it's a Shabbos, but he forgets each of the malachas, for each one of the malachas that he forgets, he has to bring one chatas. To a maximum of 39. The maximum chatos a person can bring for one Shabbos is 39, if he forgets all 39 malachas. The Gemara's question is, that this person who forgot 39 malachas obviously remembered that it's a Shabbos, because if he forgets that it's a Shabbos, he only has to bring one chatas again. So he remembers that it's a Shabbos, but he's forgotten the 39 malachas. The Gemara's question is, what in the world would such a person remember if he's forgotten all 39 malachas? Now, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you can answer that he remembers that it is forbidden, they've forgotten that it is koros. But according to Rish Lakish, that once a person knows it is forbidden, then of course he must forget all 39 malachas in order for him to be chayav 39 chatois. So in what way does he remember it is Shabbos? If you'd have this question clear, you should be jumping up and down, shouting. There's many ways he could remember it's Shabbos. For example, he remembers that you have to make Kiddush. He remembers that you have to wear Shabbos clothes. He remembers that you have to dab in the Shabbos tefillahs. And these questions are asked by so many different Rishonim through Tvor, Tesos. He could remember, for example, the Issa of not making your animal work. If you remember, we once mentioned that's one of the Averos of Shabbos. It's not one of the 39 Malachas. That means the Gemara's questions based on the fact that if a person's forgotten all 39 Malachas of Shabbos, in what way could he possibly remember that it is Shabbos? And the Gemara asked it as a kasha on Mishlokish. Then really, if you're holding with, you should be asking, there are many ways you can remember Shabbos. So Tesis really tackles many of these questions. I haven't got the time to go in all of them, but the Gemara understood that to remember Shabbos, you obviously have to remember that Shabbos is a day of forbidden to do things. And the fact that you remember to do Kiddush does not make it a Shabbos day. Okay, so
then it would be enough not to know that you're to know that you can't work your animals.
Oh, so the Rishonim asked that kasha as well. Okay, so what says the Rishonim answer? It's not likely a person should not know all 39 on this. Okay, I just want to be more the question to see if the Gemara's Shech V'Tara is clear. So the Gemara says like this. Bishlim Rabbi Yochanan Damakim Sheshogag B'Koros Ach B'Sheitzet B'Lav Nashkachas Loking Yod Alol Shabbos B'Lav. He knows that Shabbos is a Salah. In what way could he possibly know it if he doesn't know all 39 malachas? B'mai, how does he know it? Answering more, he knows that one's not allowed to go out of the tchum, according to Rabbi Akiva. That's the only thing he knows. He wakes up in the morning, he knows it's a Shabbos, he knows he's not allowed to go out of the tchum because it's Shabbos. And that is not one of the 39 malachas. Besides for that, he knows nothing else about Shabbos because he doesn't know any of the other 39 malachas. He comes to Shabbos, he's done all 39, he has to bring 39 chatos.
Isn't that also unlikely?
What?
Isn't that just as unlikely?
Yes, so some of the Rishonim say, from this Gemara, there's a famous shaila. We all know, Issa Tchumin is the Rabbanon D'Oraisa. What is it? Going out the Tchum 2,000 Amos, the Rabbanon D'Oraisa. Could Rabbi Akiva it's Minatera, could the Chametz to Rabbanon, we pass this to Rabbanon. Going out of 12 mil, that's 24,000 Amos, approximately 20 kilometers. Going more than 20 kilometers out of the town, according to the Yerushalmi, is Osam in HaTorah, right? Because some of the Shem say it's a raya from this Gemara, not like the Yerushalmi, because the Bavi argues in the Yerushalmi, because otherwise the Gemara could not need to answer Tchumin according to Rabbi Akiva, just answer more than Yud Beis Mil according to the Chachamim. Some say that again, that's unlikely, that person should not know that, but he should. Okay, that's the question over here. It says, well, man, who said the following price? Shogag b'zeh b'zeh. The person does not know it is Shabbos, and he does not know that it's forbidden to do malachas. Zeu shogig amor b'Torah, he has to bring a chatos. Hazed b'zeh b'zeh, he knows it is Shabbos. He knows it's forbidden to do malachas. So he makes it amor b'Torah, that's makes it. Shogag b'Shabbos is malachas, he forgets it's Shabbos, but he knows it's forbidden to do malacha. Alternatively, shogag b'malachas is it Shabbos. He forgets the malacha, but remembers it's a Shabbos. I know it's forbidden. Then chayav. He's chayav chatos. Command, who's it go like? Munvaz. Munvaz holds. It is enough for a person not to know that he's chayav a korban in order for him to be potter from a korban of chatos. So in order to be chayav a korban of chatos, in order to be considered a shoygeg, the fact that he knows it's forbidden, the fact that he does not know that it's a chayav korban, that alone is enough to make him a shoygeg. Omar Abai. Everybody agrees with shvuas bitur. If a person makes a shvua that he's not going to eat, and what happens is he goes to eat. She'ein chayam nalei korban. He ate by mistake, obviously, and he's chayav a korban. Even though this is one of the exceptions, normally only chayav a korban for a koros. Here's being chayav a korban for love. Until he makes a mistake regarding the lav. Says, well, I couldn't moid him, man. Pshita. It's obvious you must hold like this. Why? Then it is possible to be considered a shigi regarding the cause. When there's no cause at all, then there's nothing to be a shigi about. By here, we're talking about shvuas bitur. There is only a lav. So if he's not making a shigi regarding the lav, what else is he be a shigi about? Well, it says, here is a special exception. Why? We never find a lab that you bring a korban about. Only a course. And here it does. So therefore, you might have thought that here Rabbi Yochanan holds like munvaz. Then what does munvaz say? That it's enough for a person not to know about the korban, and that makes him a shoygig. Top of Samech Testimony base. Kamash malon abaya. No, that over here the only shoygig which works to make a person to be considered a chatos is only if he forgets about the lav. Meisve ezu shugas shvas bitter shava. When does a person mechayev a korban for a shvur which he lied about on the past? He knows. A person, for example, ate bread that day, and he's about to make a shvur, I never ate bread that day. And you say to him, by the way, that's a lie. He says, yeah, I know it's forbidden. Avol, he says, I know I'm not allowed to make a shvur, but I don't know if I have to bring a korban regarding such a shvur. Chayev is a vaya that you're chayev, not like a buyer that says that a shogig by a korban is a shigas lav when you forget about the lav. And it's shitas munvaz, who be'emes taka holds that by forgetting a korban it's considered a shogig. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, that will not be the case, and you have to actually forget the entire lav. And therefore the Gemara is saying that Abai is not, it's not a kash on Abai, and Abai was speaking according to Rabbi Yochanan, not according to Munvaz. The next 4 lines of Gemara in round brackets. Rashi tells us that you must not read these words that could not possibly be written inside the Gemara. Because of that, I'm going to miss it out. It is, if you want to be interested, Tosfos indeed defends these words of the Gemara, but many already say that even without Rashi, that the Gilsa is incorrect. Everybody agrees if a person, for example, eats tumah by mistake, he has to add a fifth. Until he makes a mistake regarding the lav. Says Pshita is obvious. When there's a cause and the person forgets about the cause, that's shogig. But by tumah there's no cause. Since there's no cause, obviously it's a shogig. What says no? A person who chas v'shalom is chayav misa for eating tumah by mistake. So therefore, v'chishogai b'misa nami lechad. Kamash malon, that's not the same. When Rabbi Yochanan says a shogig, if he forgets about the cause, but if he forgets about misa, that's not considered shogig. And more being said, and therefore, according to Rava, for a person to bring a fifth extra on tumah, it is only if he forgets that the misa as well, not just the korban, not just the lav, but if he forgets the misa, that's also. And therefore, Machlokes Abai Rava regarding somebody who eats truma, and he knows it's forbidden. He swore that he eats truma, who knows it's forbidden, but he does not know there's a chiyuv misa. Is that considered a shogig or not? A new topic, a much lighter topic. We do go back to the previous topic though. Person going on a journey, Shabbos. Can imagine going on a long journey and he's forgotten when it's a Shabbos. Unfortunately, during the Second World War, many people went through such a situation, they did not know. Is it Shabbos today or not? So what should you do? He counts for 7 days, and he keeps the 7th day Shabbos. Even though he has no idea, he could easily be ending up keeping Shabbos on a weekday, but that's what you should do. The other way around, you keep 1 day, and then you count for 6, and then you keep Shabbos again. So a person, for whatever reason, stuck on a desert island, hidden in a bunker, he doesn't know when it's Shabbos. So the machlokes, what should he do? Should you wait 6 days and then keep Shabbos, and then keep another 6 days and wait to keep another Shabbos, and so forth forever, until he finds out when it's Shabbos? Or the other way around, he keeps Shabbos, then waits 6 days, keeps Shabbos, waits 6 days, keeps Shabbos, waits 6 days. Says the Gemara, but Michael Mifliki, what's the argument? You follow the way the world was created, 6 days of creation, then Shabbos. Adam Arishan was created just before Shabbos. And the first thing he did was keep Shabbos, and then he waited 6 days. So do we follow the way Adam Arishan was created, or the way the world is? Meisvei. Or you say Shabbos, you wait 1 day and then 6. After 6, You count 6 and you wait, and then you keep one day. Look, you wait one day and then you count 6, and the price can be read either way. You should have said not l'shish or 2-6, but rather you should have said and then count 6. The notion of the price sounds much more like the fact that a person should first wait 6 days and then keep Shabbos. But oy Tanya, go for Shabbos. Oy malach betech oy b'midbar dam say Shabbos moyne shisha o misham yemechot to yuvta v'chiba rav to yuvta. And that's how we pass him. That if a person is not sure when it's Shabbos, so what should he do? You wait 6 days and then you keep Shabbos. That's what the person should do. If a person should get in such a situation. If a person in a situation doesn't know when it's Shabbos, he should wait 6 days. And then the 7th day should be Shabbos. During those 6 days, when it might be Shabbos, because he's got no idea, he works enough that he should survive, right? A person's lost in the desert, no idea when it's Shabbos. He keeps 6 days, and then Shabbos 6 days, and then Shabbos. During those 6 days, he's not allowed to enjoy himself, turn on his, what was that somebody said, his computer to play tag, he said. But a person can only do what he needs to do and no more. Except for Shabbos, on Shabbos you can not even do what you have to do. Even the basic necessities you can't do. The rest of the time you can do basic necessities except for that day. That day he's going to end up dying because he's got nothing to do. So Moshe says, on Friday he has to prepare, not the Friday, on the 6th day, because he's got no idea when it's Shabbos, he has to work double, make enough food to last for 2 days, and then on Shabbos not work. Maybe the day before is Shabbos and ends up like this. He's got no idea when it's Shabbos. So we tell him count 6 days and keep Shabbos. So how every day is only allowed to do the minimal amount, nothing more than the minimal amount, because otherwise it could be Mechal Shabbos for no reason. He's allowed to do to survive, otherwise he can never survive. If he has to keep every single day Shabbos, he'll go forever. Says the Gemara, therefore every day he has to do a minimal amount. Furthermore, so what should he do about the Shabbos date? So one says on the day before he should do double the minimal amount to survive. Furthermore, how can he do that? Maybe the day before is really the Shabbos, and what he's doing is he's working on Shabbos for Sunday. So the Gemara says, every day you just do the basic minimum and no more. Says the Gemara. Oh, very good. We'll ask you, Kasha. So in what way is Shabbos different? Because Kedusha v'Avdalta with Kiddush and Avdalta. So Chas V'Shalom, if a person's lost, what should he do? Every single day do the absolute minimum amount, except for Shabbos, where he should do Kiddush and Avdalta. But otherwise, just do the very, very minimum amount. So if you look at Tosfos, interesting Tosfos, bottom Tosfos, Osa Kedei Padam Sosim, Aval Halach, but to walk, Yochel Kol Ma'ash Yirtzeh. You should do every single day as much walking as possible. Why? Because while he's stuck in this position of not knowing when it's Shabbos, he's actually being Mechal Shabbos many times. So therefore we need him to get to homeland in order that he should be able to keep Shabbos properly. So therefore walking, we tell him, keep walking in order to get out of this bad situation. Oh, yeah, it says like this. Shabbos you can't walk. Even the day which he considers to be Shabbos, he should carry on walking just to be able to escape it. The Mevshonim ask a very, very big question, and that is that we pasken holach acha roiv, that you go after roiv, and since you go after roiv, what would you say? Every single day is probably not Shabbos. It's got only a 15% chance to be Shabbos, a bit less than 15% chance. If that is the case, so every day you're allowed to do malachas.
We can say that Shabbos is Kaddish and can't be what's called. You have something very Kaddish and you can't.
Kavua, you want to say. That's a very important point. Many of the Achronim say the reason why Shabbos is not bottled by Roiv is because of the fact that it is kavua. Kavua means if you've got a very expensive piece of chicken, which is treif, it gets mixed up with other similar kinds of pieces of chicken which are expensive. then there's no bittul beroiv. Sorry, that's choshev. I got mixed up with choshev. Here, kavua is something else. I have mixed up. Some say because it's choshev. Because it's choshev, therefore it's not bottle. Some say because it's kavua, meaning when do you say a mixture is bottle is only when you do not know where at all it is. But here you know that every seventh day is Shabbos, just don't know which, therefore it's not considered roiv. Lemaisa. There's a big shine in the Puriskim when we say bittul beroiv. Does time become bottle beroiv? Does time become bottle beroiv? And just from this Gemara, it is mash. The Rishonim say it is bottle beroiv. And I'll tell you two very interesting nafkaminas halacha lemaisa. One is a very big kula. Shemzam Noach says you're allowed to open a fridge on Shabbos. Why? The point is like this: when you open a fridge, let's say 70-80% of the time, the fridge machine does not go on. 20% of the time, it goes on. Therefore, he says it's bottle beroiv. Oh, where's the bittul beroiv? It's not like a mixture of food. He says there's such a thing as bittul beroiv even on time. And therefore, since the time is sometimes like this and sometimes like that, we say bittul beroiv. It's an interesting svov v'shemazam. Tell you more deeper nafkamish the priest can bring about is more important. Is there are some people, unfortunately, that have nervous breakdown, or not. Sometimes they're crazy, sometimes they're not. And a man went and gave a get. This is brought down in the poskim. And what happened was, we do not have verification if when he gave the get, he was considered crazy or not. And was he normal or not? And the point is, most of the time, he's normal. And therefore, they rely on roiv. Oh, where's the bittul? The answer is, you can also be mevatel time. Okay. But Omar Rava, continuing this story of the person who got lost and doesn't know when it's Shabbos, if he remembers which day he left, you can do malacha. That means like this. A person's in the desert, he's got absolutely no idea when it's Shabbos. We do all what we said before, 6 days does minimal amount, Shabbos he does Kiddush and Havdalah, etc., he's allowed to walk. But let's say he remembers that it's, for example, 7 days since he left home. But he's just no idea which day of the week it is. Says Rava, since it's 7 days since he left home, or 14 days, therefore he's allowed to do malacha, because he knows one thing for certain. He never left home on a Shabbos. So if it's 7 days since he left home, today can't possibly be Shabbos, because he would never have left home on a Shabbos. So one day, if he knows which day he left, you'll always have 1 day out of 7, which is sure that it's okay, because the day that he left home is okay. Maybe more. Pshita, obviously, you can make the cheshbon. He wouldn't have left home on a Shabbos, therefore that day is okay. So what says the Mao the Temakim the Shabbos go nofik. Just like a person doesn't leave his home on Shabbos, but Mali Shabbos nofik, and therefore Friday people will still travel. Even if he left on a Thursday, so we should permit him 2 days. That sometimes a person does travel on a Friday. That means Rava is not coming to tell us a chiddush that the 7th day is permitted. It's coming to tell us a chiddush that the 6th day is forbidden. A person's lost in the desert, no idea when it's Shabbos. So we've got all these halachas we said before. But he remembers, for example, it is 21 days since he left home. So that day is allowed to do malacha. What about the day before? Day 20. Or next day, he knows that day 28 is allowed to do malacha because he knows that can't possibly be a Shabbos. He wouldn't have left home on the Shabbos. Is he allowed to do malacha on day 27 with the following logic? That it's almost certain I never left home on a Friday. So therefore, the day before the day 28 is also not a Shabbos. So Gemara says, no. Sometimes a person does travel on Friday. So therefore, the only day he can be absolutely certain that he's allowed to do malacha is the 7th, 14th, 21, etc. But the 6th, 13th, and the 20th, those are forbidden because it could very well be that he did travel on the Shabbat, on a Friday. Actually, I should say I'm wrong. It's the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd days, which the day after, those are forbidden because maybe it's a Shabbos. Now we're going back to the topic of our Mishnah, and we'll summarize again. There are three main situations of a person forgetting. Yossi, you can put the picture back up, if you don't mind. There are three main situations when a person is forgetting about Shabbos. What are the three main situations? One, when a person forgets completely, there's a musar called Shabbos. He has no idea there's such a thing that there's Shabbos. How many chatos does he have to bring? Even after years of doing Averos, only one. There's another person who forgets that today is Shabbos, but he knows all the melachos of Shabbos, then he has to bring just one per Shabbos. And then somebody who remembers it is Shabbos, but he forgets the Yisurim, then he has to bring for every melacha. Now, for quite some time, the Gemara is going to go through droshes. How do we know that is the case? Right? Here's the 3 rules set up very nicely. Rule number 1, miss out the first line. A person forgets about Shabbos, brings 1 chatos. Rule number 2, he forgets that today is Shabbos. For every Shabbos he forgets, he's chayav 1. Rule number 3, he knows that it's a Shabbos, but he forgets that this particular thing is forbidden, then he's chayav for every av malacha. Those are the 3 cases. And now the Gemara is going to go into droshes. Where do we know this from? So the Gemara says like this: Hayudaika Shabbos. There are 2 psukim. One pasuk says, "V'shavu Yisrael es haShabbos." Keep Shabbos. Shabbos in the singular. Right? One Shabbos. There's another pasuk where Shabbos tishmoyu. You should keep many Shabbos. Is Shabbos in the singular or in the plural? Okay, it's that. That teaches you that if a person forgets completely the concept of Shabbos, he brings 1 Adeva for all the Shabbos. The plural is to teach us that if a person forgets about each individual Shabbos, he brings a chatos for each individual day. But if he forgets about the concept of Shabbos, then he has to bring only 1 chatos. On the contrary, the Shabbos, the singular Shabbos to Shabbos. The singular teaches you that every single Shabbos you have to do a special shmirah, being a special korban. There's no argument halacha and ma'isa between these 2 amiroim. There's almost no argument at all. They're only arguing about how to read the pasuk. They both agree. If a person forgets completely the concept of Shabbos, he brings 1 chatos. If a person forgets each individual day of Shabbos, then he brings a chatos for each particular Shabbos. The only thing they argue about is as follows. In one place, the Torah calls Shabbos singular. In one place, the Torah calls Shabbos plural. The question is, which one's going on what? One man Dama says the singular is to tell you, if you forget the concept of Shabbos, you have to bring 1 chatos. The plural is to teach you that if you forget each individual Shabbos, you have to bring many chatos. That's the first mandam. And that says the other way around. No. If you forget, the singular is to teach you that that for every particular Shabbos you have to remember it, and if you don't, you have to bring a chatos. The plural tells you that there's 1 shmirah for all the Shabboses. And if you forget all the Shabbos, you only bring 1 chatos. They both agree to the halacha. They only argue which pasuk makes more sense to apply to which situation. Is the plural referring to the individual Shabbos, or the plural referring to the fact that and therefore each Shabbos you have to bring 1 chatos? Or is the plural referring to somebody who forgets the concept of Shabbos and therefore he's forgotten all the Shabbos together? You clear? Okay, let's go weiter. Ayudea Shiur Shabbos. Now we're going between the 2nd and the 3rd case. That somebody who forgets that it's Shabbos brings 1 chatos. A person who remembers that it's Shabbos, but he forgets that each particular malacha is forbidden. The Gemara says, Ma'ishno Reisho, Ma'ishno Sefer. Omav Safra. Can, in the first case, where he forgets that it's Shabbos, the top of Ein, sorry, we're up to top of Ein and Dalef, top line. Ma'ishno Reisho, Ma'ishno Sefer. Omav Safra. Can, in the 2nd case, Midyas Shabbos or Perish. Somebody will say to him, as a person wakes up on a Monday morning, turns on the light, puts on the kettle, says, hey, it's Shabbos. What would he do? Stop straight away. So therefore, what was his mistake? 1. Say things 1 chatos. They can, but the other story, when a person wakes up on the Shabbos morning, he knows it's a Shabbos. He just does not know you're not allowed to plant, you're not allowed to cook, etc. Each time you tell him, hey, that's forbidden, it's a malacha, hey, that's forbidden, it's a malacha, he stops. So therefore, he's chayav chatos for every malacha. So Nachman argues in semantic. He said like this: "Klum poish b'Shabbos v'shum malachos, the klum poish malachos v'shum Shabbos." A person, when you say to him it's a Shabbos, Why does he stop doing malacha? Because he knows that it's forbidden to do malachas. And why, if you say to somebody it's a malacha, does he stop doing it? Because he knows he's not allowed to do Shabbos because it's Shabbos. So in fact, each time the person's actually stopping himself for the same reasons. He remembers it's a Shabbos, he remembers it's malachas are forbidden. He remembers malachas are forbidden, he remembers it's Shabbos. Why does the Torah say you have to be a korban? Ashkoga. Because of the mistake. Awesome. When a person wakes up on a Monday morning thinking on a Shabbos, thinking that it's a Monday, and spends the entire day doing malachas, how many forgetful things did he do? One. He forgot that it is Shabbos. So he brings one chatos for one forgetfulness. If a person wakes up on Shabbos morning and he knows that it is Shabbos, but what happens is he forgets about each particular issue. He forgets he's not allowed to cook. He forgets he's not allowed to shecht. He forgets he's not allowed to plant. He forgets he's not allowed to build. So therefore, each time he forgot, he brings another chatos for each forgetfulness. And that's the difference between the three cases so far. So we've established the three cases of our Mishnah. First case of our Mishnah, he forgets completely the concept of Shabbos. He brings one, because the Torah says, that if you have to remember the Shabbos, and if you forget it, you have to bring a chatos. A person who knows the concept of Shabbos, but forgets each particular day of Shabbos, brings a chatos for every Shabbos. A person who knows that it's Shabbos, but forgets many malachas, he has to bring one for every malacha. So it says, malacha. Says, how do we know there's such a concept that a person can bring 39 different korbanos for one Shabbos? Normally, if a person, for example, eats chametz 10 times on Pesach, each time, and he forgot the entire Pesach, he forgets that it's also to eat chametz on Pesach, he doesn't know. And he eats chametz 10 times. How many chatois would you tell him to bring? One. He only brings one. Person who forgets that it's forbidden to eat chametz on Pesach, and he never got taught, let's say, or he forgot before Pesach, then he only brings one. And here we see that if a person does chodesh, all of them, he has to bring 39. Where do we know it from?
Haven't we already said it? Because of Mishnah.
We said the logic of why it is. That means we said the logic of why if somebody forgets Shabbos, he brings one, if he forgets Malachas, he brings 39. But where do we see Bechad as such a musik that you should be mechalik b'shum Malachas? Says the Gemara, Omar Shmuel, Omar Kol Mechaleo Mois Yumos. The Torah doesn't just say die. It says Mois Yumos, which means twice death. Why twice death? The Torah tells us that a person can be over many deaths for one Shabbos. How is that possible? For doing two different Avos Malachas. Furthermore, I have amazing ksif. That passes not talk about shegig, it's so amazing. What says in amazing, the Torah tells us that it's possible, mois yumos, double expression. Many deaths. How can the person go through many deaths? Answer. If he does many malachas on Shabbos, he has to bring many common chatos. And how does he do a common chatos? Let's see Rashi. Mois yumos v'misas habe b'mamona fushe korbanos. He has to bring many korbanos. And this is the Mekor of the Ramah. The Ramah tells us that Shabbos is a scary Ramah. Chas v'sholom. If a person does an avera on Shabbos, he should bring the equivalent amount that it costs for a korban chatos. He should bring it to tzedakah. How much does it cost for a korban chatos? Does anybody know? How much did the sheep in those days cost? Does anybody know?
Can it be in those days or can it be nowadays?
No, what they cost in those days, a seller. A seller has a silver coin. How much does a silver coin cost? 17 grams of silver. 17 grams of silver. Now, that's if he does it by mistake. There's a machlokas in the poskim. What happens if he does it? Korban issa d'rabbanan. Does he also have to do that? And there's a lashon of the poskim. I want to bring it down. I had it over here before. It says over here. That the Mishnah Berurah brings it. That chas v'sholom. If a person's over on issa d'rabbanan on Shabbos, for example, he picks up a piece of muktzah by mistake, then he has to fast. How many days should he fast for? Does anybody know?
Monday, Thursday, Monday.
40 days. 40 days. Not consecutive, obviously. If a person touches muktzah on Shabbos by mistake, then he has to fast 40 times. Can you imagine such a thing? They say a story about the Vilna Gaon. And one time his wife picked up a piece of orange peel by mistake on Shabbos, orange peel is muktzah. When the Vilgon saw it, he fainted because he was so upset that his wife would do such a thing. When she saw how traumatized he was, she ate it. But she said that it's not necessarily muktzah, it's only muktzah if you can't eat it. If it's edible, it's not muktzah. Obviously, all these halachas and stories are beyond a little bit our things, but it's nice to hear. It is possible for a person, you see the Eli Rabba writes, that, it's only 6,097, that's all it is. That's not very much. Interesting, that's not very much. He says, though, the Mishnah V'or, that it has to be pure silver. Is that pure silver? Okay, not much. Okay. The point is like this, that we just see the Musik, I just say a fascinating Meshech Chochmah, because it's Mamash Hashkocha Pfotis. That's this week's Parsha, and it goes in this, this morning. More over here says, Mois Yumos, what's been there? They asked me to call. In this week's Parsha, there are many things that if a person cannot afford, there's a concept called Ha'amoda v'ha'avocha. It comes up a very lot in Erechem. If a person promises something based on Mikdash and he can't afford it, then what happens is, what do? The Kohen says, let's work out how much you can afford. And what does the Kohen leave him? Anybody do Chumash Rashi? He has to leave him a bed, a pillow, a blanket, and all his tools for his trade, but nothing more. It says the Meshech Chochmah, if a person has to bring a korban, a chatos, then we do not leave him even a pillow and a blanket. He has to sell even his own bed in order to pay for the korban chatos. So we see that for an Issad, the Raisa, which a person does by mistake, he has to give up everything. And we said, Oni Choshev Kameis. Since Oni Choshev Kameis is literally Mois Yumos B'Momon, because over here, literally he's going to die. Because he doesn't have the halachas of our mother of paying later. Says the Gemara like this. We wanted to know that there are 39 malachas, and we learned it. Where did we learn it from? Mois Yumos. Ask the Gemara, I can learn it from another place. The Tanya, interesting Brisa. But Nosson says as follows. This question is on Parshas Vayakhel. The Pasuk says, don't burn or fire on Shabbos. And what's the obvious question? Anybody think what's the obvious question in that Pasuk? Moshe Rabbeinu gathers Klal Yisrael. He tells them you must keep Shabbos. And he says to them, don't light a fire. What's the obvious question on this Pasuk?
It's not one of the malachas.
What?
It's not one of the 39 malachas.
More than that, why did Moshe Rabbeinu mention lighting a fire? There are 39 things not allowed to do on Shabbos. He comes up, don't do malacha on Shabbos, don't light a fire. Lighting a fire is one of the 39. But what's the purpose? Why mention that separately? So the Gemara says like this. He said to them, given these other things, and we say as following a drasha like this: Dvorim, things, is plural. What's the minimum of plural? 2. Hadvarim, the extra hay, is 3. Eila, what's the gematria of the word Eila? Does anybody know the gematria of Eila? It's 36. Aleph is 1, Lamed is 30, hay is 5, it's 36. Dvorim is minimum is 2. Hadvarim is 3. Plus the Eila is 39 altogether. Eila, Dvorim, Elu, Shloishim, B'Teishim, Melocha, Shneim, Moshe, V'Sinai. Yochel, you might have thought, Asim, Kulam, Ben, Amechot. You only have one. The Torah specifies that for plowing and for harvesting there's Issa Melocha. That for plowing and for harvesting you have 2, but the rest of you only have 1. Havo was one of them. To compare to it. Of course, so we see over there the Yechai by itself. And it says, Avo comes out to teach you it's only a love. The Tanya Avo love yotzos, I'm going to explain this, and this is something I'm going to stop here. This is very, very important to the more. It comes up a very, 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 very lot in Shas, and it's mamish kedai to know it. I remember when I was about 12 years old. My father was walking with the Rav, and the Rav said to me, do you know what Avo lechalek yotzos? And I did not know. He gave me a zab, Mosad Rasha. Why don't you know such a thing? So I'll try to explain it. Since then I haven't forgotten. But it's important to know it. The Torah says like this. It's very, very important. Moshe Rabbeinu gathers the whole of Klal Yisrael and Vayakhel, and he says to them, you all must keep Shabbos. That's the first thing he tells them. And then that's the next thing what he tells them is, don't light a fire. And the obvious question is, what do you mean? You've just told us to keep Shabbos. Keeping Shabbos includes 39 malachas. And now you specify fire. Why in the world would you do such a thing? And there are two fundamental answers. We'll start with the simpler one, which is the second one over here. Is the Gemara teaches you that lighting a fire on Shabbos is less chomo than all the rest. All the other malachas on Shabbos, like planting or boiver, one is chayav chorus for. But fire, you only chayav a lav. There's malchus, there's no chorus. Meaning, why did Moshe Rabbeinu, after he told Klal Yisrael, do not do any malachas, did he say to them, don't light a fire? To teach them that lighting a fire is only an issa lav and not more. It's not an issa chorus. So something you say to, why did Moshe tell them fire? Simply to tell them the fire is only a lav, it's a not chorus. That is one explanation. That is Shittas Rabbi Yossi. Habo lelav yotzes to Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Nosson, what's Rabbi Nosson say? He says completely different cheshbon. He says like this. Moshe Rabbeinu told them, don't do 39 malachas. You might have thought that if a person does 39 malachas on Shabbos, he only has to bring one chatos. Just like if a person eats chometz 10 times on Pesach, he only brings one chatos. Came along Moshe Rabbeinu and said to them, no. For every one of the malachas, you have a separate chatos. How did Moshe Rabbeinu set this up? I say to them like this. By telling them that lighting a fire is an issa on its own, so therefore we have a concept called davar shebichlal, v'yotza min haklal, lo lelamed al atzmo yotza, lelamed al klal kula yotza. Something which was in the rule, and it came out of the rule, teaches us something about the general rule. There's a general rule, don't do malachas on Shabbos. Then he came along and took one out, the issa of lighting a fire, and he said that one is chayav chatos for, one is koros and chatos. Once he says about one of them that Yechav Chatos, we know that all of them Yechav is separate Chatos. And that's the Chiddush. If somebody says to you, why did Moshe Rabbeinu mention the Issa of fire on its own? You'll say to him, according to Rabbi Yossi, to teach you that lighting a fire is only a lav, not cause. According to Rabbi Nosson, to tell you that every single one of the malachas of Shabbos, one is chayav independent chatos for. And therefore it's possible for a person to be chayav 39 chatos on one Shabbos. Okay, the Gemara does carry on. It's not like a new topic tomorrow. It's a continuation a little bit, but it's continuation for quite some time. Somebody said to me actually, the first 5 daf of Klal Godom is the hardest daf in the whole of Shabbos. We've done 2 of them. 1, 2. We've done 2.5. 2.5 more. Okay, atzlacha with everything. Anybody say anything nice? A nice chiddush or something? Shlomo Hoff said, why do we celebrate like Roma? The only reason they stopped dying because there was nobody left. That's not a very big celebration. He said a nice point. He said that we celebrate the fact that after losing 24,000 Talmidim, Rabbi Akiva decided to start again, not give up. Sometimes a person learns something, finds it difficult. Sometimes a person tries to do a mitzvah, it doesn't work out. So the greatest of Rabbi Akiva was, after all of it not working out and nothing, what does he go and do? He keeps on going, and that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating that tenacity of spirit, of not giving up. And that's something we have to learn from. That's the whole idea. Everybody you can see has had the haircuts. And Yechil, where's Yechil? I wonder, are the barbers open? Not really. Probably not allowed to be open.
No.
So it must be hard. But anyway, so we see a tremendous lesson. I can carry on. Okay, very good. Atzlacha with everything. It's a nice word. It's a very nice word. We're celebrating the fact that Akiva didn't give up. And because he didn't give up, he taught Torah for the whole of Klal Yisrael, because the 5 Talmidim of Akiva taught everybody. They would have a very, very good night.
As far as Mumbaz, was he an Amora or a Tana?
A Tana. Not very commonly quoted, by the way. Very rare that we find him. Very good, because there's Mumbaz and Melech. Very good. Okay, Atzlacha with everything. Have a very good night.
Shkoch.
I'm turning it off, Moshe. Yeah, and then that's
Yeah.
Shkoch.